Hello, my name is Bonnie Debbie Kay, and I am the author of a book called My Journey to the Other Side. That is just so you'll know how you can identify me and find me if you would like to later. I am probably not like anybody you've met before, and may never meet anybody like me again. So I wanted to let you know that I see and encounter people on the other side. In some cases they are public figures, and in some cases they are just friends of mine. And in some cases it has been people that I have no idea who they are. But they need help, so they don't understand what's going on with them, where they are, so I help them as I can. I love what I do. I love doing all of this interaction with the other side. It's all in a good way. Please go to myjourneytotheotherside.com. Go to the videos, and there's a YouTube video on my video tab that is Protect Yourself from Negativity. Please, please, I emphasize please in huge capital letters. This is the most important thing that I talk about. Please go there and protect yourself from negativity. It does exist in any form it wants to exist, just like good exists in any form it wants to exist in. So please take care of yourself and don't do what I have done without protection. I took protection. I said it was like a half a day long prayer many, many years ago, so that I would set up all kinds of protection so I wouldn't have anything to worry about. And now I can do it for myself it takes like 3 seconds, but to teach other people it takes like 5 minutes. So what I want to talk today about is the encounter that I had that really kind of threw me for a loop. I am kind of semi-used to talking with people on the other side who are dead. But this interaction was different than most. In the previous episode of Dead People Say the Darndest Things, I had talked about my friend and publisher Marianne Heathman, and she is a part of this as well. So I recommend that you go back and find out a little bit of our history together, although I will be doing a completely separate piece on her, because she died several years ago, and there are interactions before and after her death that I feel are quite interesting. So this, Marianne and her husband Kim and I were preparing to go to Los Angeles. This is in, it was in towards the end of May in 2004. And it was on a Friday. We were packing. We were going to, come to think of it, it was a Thursday. Yeah, because we drove down, I think. Anyway, it was, and it could have been. Anyway, it was the end of May. We were going to a T. Harv Eker seminar. So if any of you want to look that up, that's where we were. So I was standing at the kitchen counter that runs along the side of the wall that is leads into the living room, and it was an open situation. So I'm standing there, and Marianne has been in the back of the house, and she walked through, and as she got about 15 feet from me, I was looking kind of funny. I was stopped what I was doing, and I was looking, and I said, Marianne, I said, there are, and I kind of counted them, and I said, there's like 16 or 17 people in this room. And she says, she stopped. She'd known me for several years, like 5 years at this point. So she's like, oh, who are they? And I said, well, I recognize some of them. Some of them I have no clue who they are. And they're just standing around they're all looking at one spot, but there's nothing there. And she says, okay, at this point, who are they? And I started to tell her. And then I said, wait a minute. I said, somebody else is showing up here. And a man was standing there suddenly, and he was the focus of all of their attention. And he looked very lost and very confused, and like he had no clue where he was or what was going on. And I looked at him, and I looked at the people around the room, and I said, Marianne, I said, I think that's Ronald Reagan. I said, I don't understand. And she says, just keep me informed as to what's going on. So she just stood there. And so I watched and I listened. And this had nothing to do with me at that moment. It had to do with Mr. Reagan and the people that were around him that he knew. Two of these people, and I'm not going to tell you which ones, two of these people are my guides. And I utilize them periodically. Not often, but they help me to understand things so that I can discuss things with them if I wish. Both of them are dead. So I looked around, and I started off saying, and I laughed, I said, Orson Welles and Gene Kelly are standing together. They are dressed alike. Both of them are slim and young. Both of them look like they're going to do a tap dance any moment. They have black pants, white shirt, a black vest on, and even their hair is almost cut the same. I said, I have no idea if these people know each other, but they look like they're very close. So, but I can't understand why they're dressed that way. So then I started telling her about the various sort of people in the room. And two more that included Abraham Lincoln, Marilyn Monroe. Gosh, at the time I knew all 7 of the people that were there. And it's like, I would have to really think about it because, and I may have written it in my diary as to who they were, but I haven't looked at that in a long time. So I'm watching this, and they are interacting with him like a most beloved friend. Even all these other people that I began to pick up had something to do with the industry of the movies or the industry of government, or it was they were business type people. So I just watched, and I was talking to Marianne, and nobody was paying attention to me. And I was telling Marianne what I saw and what I picked up and all this other stuff. And as I listened to the conversation, it was like they were trying to assure him that everything would be okay. From their perspective. Now, some of the people that were there that day, on a spiritual level, were still alive here. And I've encountered that in the past. I had gone to the other side, as related in my book, My Journey to the Other Side, and I went to where animals were. And I was told to call them. And it turned out to be my cat that had already died, Panda, and my dog, Snoopy, who had not died. So I knew that the spiritual aspect of a person, of a being, can be someplace that their body is not. And it's okay because we're energy. We have energy that is on many different levels. Even as I'm sitting here, I have energy that is out doing business, taking care of whatever. and it's not a part of my conscious person. It's like there's Xerox copies, sort of, running around. It's okay. It's all okay. It's all in the master plan. Everything works perfectly. It's all supposed to be grand. And it is. Please trust me. There is justice in the world. There is love. There is light. There is peace. It's just that you can't see it unless you're looking for it. Anyway. And there, by the way, there is there are many articles on that website too. So that talk about different aspects that people don't know about what's going on the planet. So at one point, it was like everybody turned to me, and I said, "What do you want me to participate in this with for? How am I going to help?" And they're looking at me, and Mr. Reagan looks at me, and he sees me, and it's like he sees me for the first time. And he asked me, "What's going on?" And I said, "I believe that the last information that I have on you is that you have Alzheimer's, and you live in a house with your wife Nancy and other people who take care of you, and everything's going to be okay." And he kind of looked around, and he looked back at me, and he said, "Why would you say that?" And I said, "Because I have a feeling that if you're coming here, you have questions, and I think I can answer them for you. I think that may be why your friends have brought you here to our living room." So it became a situation where they kind of talked and became a group, and Kim and Marianne and I went on about our business. We got out of town. We headed for Los Angeles, and we were headed for one of the big hotels there. And so we went to bed. And about 1 o'clock in the morning, we have to get up really early, like 6, to get there on time and do everything that we need to do. So at about 1 o'clock in the morning, Marianne wakes up and she sees me with my eyes wide open. And she says, what's going on? And I said, "Marianne," I said, "I think these people have found other people that they know, and they are having a big party, and they are making a lot of noise. And it's like they won't let me sleep." And she just looked at me matter-of-factly, and she says, "Well, tell them to go down the other end of the hall." And she went back to sleep. And I thought, that's easy. So I did. I told them, "You guys need to go to the other end of the hallway and party all you want. Hang out this weekend, all you want, wherever you want." And I said, "We're going to go back on such and such a day, and, we'll be here." So we went to the seminar, came back, and by the way, they did go away. All the noise that they laughing is like clinking glasses, but it wasn't. I don't know what the sound was, but it was just a lot of fun for them. It was like old home week. And so on the day that we were going back home, which I believe, I'm not sure. Well, I know it was after that, so I'll just leave it at that. They all traveled with us. And when they traveled with us, there were so many of them. There were about 17 of them. When they traveled with us, they didn't all have to be in the car. It's not like they're captive audiences. They can be wherever they want. They can be kind of tagging along outside. They can be in the car. You can have, on spirits, it's not like with humans. I can't put my hand through my other hand. Spirits are energy. They can pass through each other. So you could have 5 people in one seat, and they wouldn't be uncomfortable. They could overlap each other, sit and laugh. But anyway, so we we had this wonderful, joyous, freedom type interaction with them on the way home. When we got home, and we all 20 of us went into the house, within 5 minutes, all of the other people were gone except Mr. Reagan. And I went in there and I put my bags down and I sat down and I asked him, I said, I know you want to find some things out. What are they? So he asked, he said, he wanted to know first, how about Nancy? And I said, I've seen kind of like news footage of her recently. She appears to be fine. She, of course, is concerned about you. You being such a wise and learned man, and being such a powerful world leader for so many years, and then to have you sit and not know who you are and who she is. Although I said, I know that periodically, you, even to this day, you still have seconds where you know who she is. And he said, one of the questions that he asked was, he said, I know that when I die, I will be offered the opportunity to go to the light. He said, is that true? And I said, yes. I said, that is an actual thing. I said, it is a process, and it has a specific purpose and specific utilization. And he said, if I go to the light, can I come back? And I said, I see people who have gone to the light all the time. Some people cannot. I do. My friends leave and come back sometimes, in weeks and sometimes in hours. So it's like, okay. He says, but does that change me? Does going to the light change my relationship with my wife? And I said, yes, it will. I said, not much. But what happens is when you go to the light, you see not only your picture, but the big picture. Everything, you understand it. So the relationship becomes part of the big picture, not the small picture. And he looked at me and he says, then I'm not going until she's with me. And I said, and I took time and I talked to him and I explained to him. I said, you've got to go. He says, not now. He says, I'm going to stay with her. I'm going to be with her. I am not going to leave her side. I am totally dedicated to this woman. She is my life, and I want to be there for her. She has been such a champ all the way down the line. And so I talked to him, and he said, I am going to be behind her right shoulder pretty much all the time. And I said, that's acceptable. I believe that she will like that. He says, please tell her. And I said, okay. I said, I will do my best to get that information to her. After we had about a 45-minute conversation of particular questions that he asked, not having passed to the other side yet, but still being a spiritual being on this side. And so he finally said, it's all okay. I'm fine. And I watched him leave, and such a handsome man. He looked to be about, I'm going to say, I'm a horrible judge of age. I'm going to say in his late 30s, early 40s. Thick black hair, young looking face, no lines on his face. When he first showed up, he was dressed probably in something that might equate to something that he might be wearing in a hospital or something. his clothing at that time was pretty much irrelevant. But when he left, his clothing had changed to be dark pantsuit, dark suit pants. I'm sorry, that's the woman in me. Okay, dark suit pants and a white shirt that was open. Nice but informal, but he was very aware of who he was and where he was going. So when he left, I talked to Marianne. She was privy to most of this conversation. He didn't mind. And I looked at her when he was gone, and I said, he's not going to be on the planet much longer. And he died about a week and a half later. Now, you would think that that might be the end, but it's not. So when they had, after 2 weeks, I think it was, whenever it was that they had his burial in California, I was watching the whole thing, and I was just watching because I really was hoping to be sending his wife positive energy to help her to get through this, because I knew it just devastated her. And so I'm watching, and I'm picking up that he's behind her right shoulder. And I'm watching, and all of a sudden, he like jumps in front of me for like a second and a half, and he yells kind of forcefully, not screams or anything, but he is, tell her. He's gone. And I was like, okay, well, I tried. And he comes back about 30 minutes later, and he's going, tell her. And I said, I don't know who to talk to. And so he leaves. And he's going, comes back for like a half a dozen times, and he says, every time, he says, tell her, and he's gone in a flash. So that was an interesting set of circumstances, because she is absolutely devastated by his death, and he is right behind her, and I know it, and I'm probably the only person on the planet that does, but he won't leave her. It's not necessary. With a love like he's got for her, he won't leave her. He won't go away. She is his champ. And so in the interim between then and now, I have known and spoken with directly 3 people who either know Nancy Reagan directly or very closely and indirectly, slightly. I have told them this information. I have asked them if I put it down in writing. In one case, I was carrying it around. I said, would you please get this to Nancy Reagan? All 3 of them said no. I know somebody who knows her personally, and he will not get this information to her. So if you know Nancy Reagan, please just tell her that he's behind her right shoulder. I realize that she's probably not got all that much time left on the planet, and she may already be aware of his presence. But I want to fulfill what I told him I would do. So it's the relationship that you have with people here and on the other side is not necessarily what you expect. The rules of the game change with each individual set of circumstances. But we are energy. Energy can never be destroyed. It can never be created. It can only be transformed. I believe it was Albert Einstein that said that. And it is like, if you understand that I am sitting in front of you and I have a body, but when I die, I can still be sitting in front of you and have a body, but you might not be able to perceive it. I can perceive it frequently. And frequently, I have the ability to perceive what color somebody's wearing and minor changes in their appearance. There's more on that part later in another one. Just see if you can find the video about my friend Nan. She showed me a lot of things. I wish you love and light and hope and peace. I want you to understand that there is good out there. Focus on the good. You create your own universe. You create your own world. If you focus, as in the news, if you focus on the bad, you're helping to add energy to the negative. You're perpetuating the negative. Stop that. I quit watching TV years ago. For the most part, I have television shows, about 3 or 4, that I really like. But I go on to a movie or a TV service and watch them. I don't have to watch necessarily the commercials and all that stuff. I figure if I need to find out any news, I will go online and bring up my particular homepage, which has some news on it. I don't need the... That brings me to another Reagan point. I don't need the swayed opinion of a news broadcaster that can change the meaning of something simply by the words they emphasize. I will give you the example. Many years ago, when Reagan was running for office the first time, I was listening to one of his campaign speeches, and he was talking. I think I heard like 2 or 3 sentences that I really resonated with. So, and they were talking in about one direction of looking at something. And that night I saw, I believe it was Tom Brokaw. I'm not sure, but it was a newscaster that I normally looked at on an ongoing basis, and I heard him repeat the same words using different emphasis, and it changed the entire meaning of the statement 180 degrees. And I swirled around and I glared at the TV and I said, that is the last time I will pay attention to newscasters for truth. Because when the words say one thing, and President Reagan wound up, he emphasized one thing, one word over another, and they emphasized the other word and changed that meaning, and that's not right. So be careful who you listen to. Truly. Get that television out of your house, basically. You don't need it. It's addictive. I've been addicted to it a number of times in my life. I've broken free of it. It's nice to have a life. You don't have to live your life through watching somebody else have a life on TV and getting paid for it. Hey, what can I say? Go find your life. Find what your passion is. My passion is being able to help people. I have been trained. For years, strange things happened to me. Strange events. I met strange people. And I'm not talking about strange people being strange. I'm talking about people I should never have had the occasion to be able to meet. But I met them. And it's get out there and get a life. Go find out who you are. Find out what you can do on the planet. This is one of those things, it gets me, Ronald Reagan. I've already done one on Steve Fawcett. There are other people. They have the ability to look at something and go, I can do that. That's the reason that I'm doing these videos today, is because I've sat on this information and not said anything for so many years because I was quiet and shy and just kind of wanted to disappear. Even in the midst of understanding that all those years, Father was training me to be a public speaker, to be skilled at the things that I do, to understand things that other people can't understand. I get it. I'm supposed to be out there. I'm supposed to be doing these things because I'm trying to help you. If you've gotten this far, I'm trying to help you understand what's going on in your life and what the possibilities in the universe are. And they are totally unlimited. I don't care what anybody has told you. You can do anything as long as you don't hurt other people. That's the criteria. It's not what you do. It's not what you have. It's not what you accomplish. This whole game is about who you become when you leave this planet. And there is so much more to say about all of this. But that's for another video. So have a most magnificent day. I want you to know that I have great joy in what I do, the people that I can see on this side and on the other side. There's not much difference. There really isn't. It's like, okay, I have a nose itch. I love it. I love it. So have a great day. Have a good life. Choose to see the good. Get yourself out of any negative you're in and believe it'll all work out for the best. I love you. I thank you for being my viewer. And go to the website. I think you'll find some interesting things there. Have a great day. Bye.